You're listening to a fight against free kill laws from AMP Media Production Studio.
Welcome to the Fight Against Free Kill Laws with Ed Salazar, where we give a voice to those who have suffered firsthand from medical malpractice. In Florida, families devastated by medical negligence are left without justice because of a law many don't even know exists. Florida's free kill law prevents families from holding doctors accountable. These are real stories with real loss and no justice. Contact Ed at 561-239-2417 or visit afreekill.com. Today we uncover the truth, share real stories, and demand change.
Good evening, and thank you again for taking the time to tune into the podcast. We deeply appreciate it. We're going to change the format just a little bit. We're going to visit with two relatively new members to our circle, but who both, unfortunately, their families and a loved one in their family was a victim of this horrible draconian law. Let me bring in first Maria Tickner.
Hi, Ed.
Hey, afternoon, Maria. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Can you, real quick, can you just tell us when you first became aware of our organization?
Probably a little over a year ago.
Okay. And please, I know this is hard, this is difficult, it's emotional for you, but just kind of walk us through, the sequence of events that led up to your father's tragedy.
Okay, so my father lived in Syracuse, New York, and after retirement, he relocated to Orlando, Florida. He was a resident of Orlando for about 9 years. When he was first moved down there, he was diagnosed with a couple different conditions that were, come to find out, incorrect. So it was in the end of April of 2022 when he was correctly diagnosed by a CT scan of the chest, and his provider told him that he had previous CT scans for the last 2 years that had showed stage 1, 2, and 3 lung cancer. So by the time he was diagnosed, he was at stage 4 with an obstructive mass, and it was causing collapse of the lower lobe, at least partially. Before the diagnosis, they had been putting him through a bunch of different treatments and surgeries for symptoms he was having for the heart, because that left lung was so taxing on his heart. And those surgeries and treatments weren't actually helping the cause, and they were really taxing on his health. So we have the misdiagnosis.
They were just allowing time for the cancer to grow.
Yes. Yeah. So we have the CT scan, multiple CT scans that went undiagnosed. And then we've got surgeries and treatments that were just incorrect before that correct diagnosis.
May I ask you, I'm sorry, Maria, may I ask you, what were they telling you his condition was before? What were they calling it?
So, it really was just that they were focusing on the heart, and it was mostly, related to that. They were also doing a lot of surgeries for skin cancer. So they were, cutting skin cancer away. And during one of those procedures, the skin surgeon looked at him and said, this is coming from somewhere else. And
So
and
he
at that
suspected a metastasis.
Yes, at that point it had already metastasized everywhere. Yeah. So then he was accurately diagnosed, and they prognosed him at about a month. They said if he survived the first month of treatment, they would give him another month. After he was informed about this, and the doctor put it in his chart exactly what scans and what dates it went undiagnosed. Um, it was about a week later that he was just so riddled with cancer head to toe that he uh, literally crawled into the ER. And he was hospitalized for about a month and a half until he passed at Advent Health Orlando. I flew down and was able to stay with him in his room for that month and a half. Um, During that time, Advent Health was transitioning operating systems from an old operating system to the Epic software.
Mm-hmm.
That launched in July of 2022. My dad passed the end of June 2022. That software took about 3 years to launch fully, and during my father's hospital stay, there were multiple incidences where providers could not see records, to the extent that I even had to stop a couple surgeries because they had them full of blood thinners and the provider didn't know. I have no medical background, so that duty really shouldn't have fallen on me. After
Agreed.
my father did pass, which before he passed, being aware of this injustice, he fully laid out that he wanted me to pursue justice, made sure I have the records and the documentation I needed. He discussed what law firms to talk to, the whole, his wishes for his family and everything. Um, After he passed, I was able to retain an attorney, a malpractice attorney, who then was able to get a wrongful death special attorney or
Right.
firm.
Mm-hmm.
And they also got a probate attorney involved. They retained physicians. They got a certificate of merit. And about a year after my dad's passing, I think it was like April, so it would have been a year that June, I got an email from my attorney that said, "It is with a heavy heart that I must inform you that we have encountered an insurmountable obstacle. At our first consultation, I had heard that you said that you were 24 years old. When opening probate, it became apparent that I had misheard you and that you were, in fact, 34 years old. This may seem insignificant, but it is very important because by Florida law, children may not recover damages in wrongful death suit unless they are under 25. Therefore, both myself and the associated firms have wasted time and money pursuing the matter, and you have spent time and effort to no avail. Apologies for mistakenly hearing your age. It is my opinion that you should not pursue the matter, and you owe nothing. You may seek another opinion, and a one-time petition has been filed for the extension of the statute of limitations." So I had physicians and law firms all tell me what a horrific case this was. There are multiple instances of below standard care, and now they're
Well,
saying that what was once wrong, because my father was not married, is now no longer going to see court, and because I was not under 24.
how did you feel when you heard about this?
Um, at that point, even that though he explained the statute to me, I still hit the ground running. I thought that there was another attorney out there that could see something, hear something, or do something different. And I wound up with a binder full of other attorneys saying the same thing, that they hate seeing cases full of such merit and um, not see justice and accountability, but that they couldn't take the case.
So before they realized that your age, they felt they had a rock solid case of malpractice, medical negligence.
Yes. Yes. Yep. The certificate of merit specifically says that the proximate cause of his injuries, including death, was the result of Dowd Rahman, MD, and Advent Health's negligence. I even had an autopsy done because they wouldn't really provide a accurate cause of death for the death
You
certificate.
you paid for a
Um,
private autopsy.
Yes, yeah. They gave me like a inaccurate cause of death. Then, when I said, well, you got to do an autopsy to give me the correct one, then they refused. So I had to pay out of pocket to have him sent to another facility, and have another provider do the autopsy. She said, she could see how riddled with cancer he was, late stage, metastasized everywhere, organs, bone, brain, skin. Um, but she also saw all these surgeries that didn't make any sense. Um, and she said she's just never seen a case like that before in her career.
It's just horrific. It's horrific, the prevalence of stories like this. And
Well, and
no, go ahead.
it's been 3.5 years since he passed, and those providers have had no accountability, no other records reviewed to catch more misdiagnoses. You know, um,
When I hear lobbyists talking and arguing in favor of this statute, that it should stay on the books, they're always going back to the thing that you don't want nuclear awards. It would ruin healthcare. The insurmountable judgments, the amount of money that would be paid. But the thing that is always neglected is, if there is no litigation, even if the award was $5, at least there would be a record that this happened. When people are searching for a hospital, they're searching for a doctor, and they look at their record, well, things look good here. Well, you had a tragedy like this that your father suffered, and there's no legal record of it, and
right.
that's what doesn't get addressed.
Hmm.
Do we have? I think we have a picture of Maria and her father. You say he relocated from Syracuse,
Yes, Syracuse, New York. Mhm.
and
And you know, I know if his medical records had been reviewed by providers here, or if he got medical treatment here, or if he didn't retire to Florida, the chances of a bunch of unaccountable providers being able to miss something like this would be lower. Because there would be more accountability.
well, it's kind of hard to comprehend that they were so focused on a cardiac condition that they completely overlooked lesions that obviously had to be there, because
Mhm.
it had advanced from stage 1 to stage 4.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
Well, Maria, thank you so very, very much for taking the time to share your story with us. It's much appreciated, and we're honored and privileged to have you in a member of our circle. And I believe with all my heart that this year, we're gonna get this thing over the finish line.
Yes. Me too. Hmm.
All right, Maria.
Thank you
Well,
for
thank
you.
you're so very welcome. Thank you so very much for your time. All right, we're gonna just have a real quick commercial, and then we'll be back with our next guest. Thank you.
Imagine this. A loved one, a son or a daughter, has just suffered from a life-threatening accident. They are transported to a state trauma hospital, and despite being in the care of professional physicians, they tragically pass away due to preventable medical errors. As if this was not tragic enough, then finding out that legal statutes in the state of Florida devalue your loved one's life to zero. This is what we are fighting against. Come join Edward Salazar as he discusses the issues surrounding free kill laws and how to resolve them. Catch The Fight Against Free Kill Laws with Ed Salazar on Monday, 5 p.m. on all social media. Learn who we are and join our cause today. Welcome back to the fight against free kill laws, where we expose the truth about medical malpractice and the families left behind. Under Florida's free kill law, if a victim is over 25 and unmarried, their death means nothing in the eyes of the law. No accountability, no justice. If this happened to your loved one, would you accept silence?
You're listening to a fight against free kill laws from AMP Media Production Studio.
Okay, thank you. Welcome back. That was heart-rending, to say the least. We have another guest. She actually is a resident close here. She lives nearby. Miss Nadia Daki. Excuse me, Daki. There we are. Hello, Nadia.
Hi, Ed.
Nadia, thank you so much for taking the time to be on our podcast. We much appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Did you listen to Maria?
Yes,
Just
I did.
well,
And
we know.
I don't have words to express.
Yeah. Well, just know, that our hearts are with them. Nadia, go just like we did, with Maria. Please tell us how long your mother. What had been her general health prior to this incident?
My mom had been diabetic, and basically that was one of the stuff that she had, which was under control until the final time of her death. Um, but she was doing well, and this all went downhill in December of 2024. She called and she was crying for her pain in her stomach, and we said, okay, you don't like to go to the hospital, but if this is really serious, gonna have to go. And it was surprise, to myself and my sister that my mom actually called 911 herself because the pain was so severe. Someone who is not fond of going to the hospital did that all by herself.
And
And
she had never
911,
had abdominal pain like that before. This was something new.
no, no, she had never had that before. It was something new where she had stopped sleep after that. She stopped sleeping on her bed after the hospital did nothing. She went to the hospital on December 3rd, 2024. They discharged her the following morning at 3 or 4 a.m. with some medication with pain pills. Ignored that completely. From then, she still was like feeling the pain. She thought it was the bed. She thought it was something. She slept up on the recliner for a while. Still, then we sent her again to the same hospital, JFK, HCA, North West Palm Beach. Then they called and said they have to send her to the main hospital in Atlantis for
Mm-hmm.
some tests. So they did, and of course, bill the insurance thousands of dollars. Send my mom back home. Said she was dehydrated, and they didn't find anything. Now that's February. So we go December, we go February. On March the 17th, I went to visit her, and when my son usually go up first, he went up and he saw her and she was unresponsive. He was freaking out because she was sitting in the chair, unresponsive, and um he rushed and say, "Mom, come up quickly, quickly." Grandma, mama, he calls her, is not responding. I'm trying to open her eyes. My uncle is trying to because she used to live with my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And um, as we do all of that, we call 911 and say, "My mom is unresponsive." This had never occurred before. And the paramedics came and they were able to retrieve her. And she was crying out. She was crying. I see the picture as they were carrying her to the hospital. They took her to JFK.
Wait, I'm
Um,
sorry, Nadia. Can I ask you a question real quick? When the
sure.
paramedics came to the house that time, did they determine that it was a diabetic issue? Did she have like a
Yeah, the
real?
blood sugar was very high too. The
Okay.
blood pressure was, yeah, the blood sugar was very high. Um, and starting since December, the sugar was running extremely high abnormally.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was controlling it. So they even discharged her with high pressure, sugar that was uncontrollable since
Did
December.
anyone ever recommend a continuous transcutaneous monitor for her blood sugar level?
Yeah, and she would take the insulin, but it still would never go back down to below the 300. She was running 300 and something right through,
And they
and all the
discharged her. They
visits to the
discharged her with
hospital.
those levels.
Yes, yes. And she actually went in where the machine wouldn't even read the blood pressure. It was, sorry, not blood pressure, but blood sugar because it was so high.
Mm.
And when they took her the final time, it was above 400, maybe to 5. Again, the machine couldn't read it. And they took her in for that. And then she had a stomach pain. She was nauseated. She wasn't able to eat, but the pain in her stomach, she was complaining. And that's the 17th. We get a call on the 19th. Oh, your mom is ready to discharge. She can go home or she can go to the rehab. Nothing is wrong with her. So I went there right away. And the social worker wasn't aware that I was there, but the nurse had called and said, "Your mom doesn't want to go home. She's not feeling well. She wanted rather the rehab if she have to get out of the hospital because they wouldn't keep her." And the social worker was angry. "Oh, I already set up for her to, she got to get out of here. She got to go home or somewhere." I said, "Ma'am, I'm right here, okay? And my mom is in no condition to go to a um
Rehab.
to home.
Okay.
If you all got to get her out of here, she's gonna go to the rehab. Here she is herself saying she's not well. Her stomach still hurts. She's nauseated. She hadn't eat her food. I try to feed her a little bit. So all this, I'm witnessing it. So because it was the time was late in of the day, the social worker wasn't able to make the arrangement for the rehab, so they kept her the additional day without addressing the issue that
Yeah.
still was going on. So, and I witnessed this and I can testify to something like this because my sister and I went there on the 20th, the same day that they sent her to the rehab, and she had all the symptoms. She still had all the symptoms of septic. And once she get to the rehab, every day between my sister and I, we would go call. She couldn't eat. She said they take her food away because there's a limited time because she wasn't able to eat. She was nauseous. My sister rushed her to church on a Sunday and got to go there, and she was throwing up
Had they?
consistently, and she couldn't eat.
I'm sorry. One more question, Nadia. Did they ever do blood cultures? I mean,
You know
did
what?
anyone suspect that she might be septic?
No, they didn't. They said nothing was wrong with her. They didn't give us no information about that. They said all she needs to is rehab. Rehab to walk, like to make her stronger. That's what they said. That's what, and we can get at notes what they sent her to the rehab for. Then on that Monday, so mind you, she went into the hospital on the 17th. They discharged her to the rehab on the 20th. On the 24th, the rehab called and said she's I think the blood oxygen was way down. The sugar was still high. She was disoriented, and they had to rush her out there. So to the emergency room. Again, they sent her to that despicable hospital. But I went there immediately, sit in the waiting room, waiting to hear what exactly is going on to my mom. Then the
Hmm.
nurse come out and they were just whispering with the person because they didn't expect us to be there um, so quickly. And then the nurse come out and say, give us a few more time thing. We're running some tests now. And the doctor will come and get you. The doctor come and get us within half an hour or whatever. Oh, your mom condition is very, very serious. She have there's a possibility she have proration, whatever they call it, in a proration in her stomach.
A perforated.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and it could be anywhere. And she has sepsis. So we have paged the surgeon to come immediately. So you guys can talk to the surgeon. As so we spoke to the surgeon. He said her chances is very slim being given her age, and they didn't cut it on time for survival. So they can put her on palliative care. This is my mom now that they send
Palliative care.
out saying she's fine for rehab physical therapy. Let me for physical therapy. And now you're telling me what 3 4 days after my mom gonna die because you failed to diagnose her.
So they
And
thought
then
that they told you that she might have a perforated bowel. Is that what they?
she might, they don't know, they have to do
And that she
exploratory surgery.
exploratory surgery. Yeah.
They're still not sure, so then there's not little chance of her surviving. So the surgeon said he can suggest palliative care. That's the only option. So they sent her to a regular floor. She was, after she was getting a little better. Then they called us after midnight and said, "Oh, you guys need to do a DNR order. If you don't do a DNR order, um, big heavy men gonna come and press on her ribs and try to resuscitate her." Now you're talking about resuscitating my mama. We just left the hospital and she was talking and she was okay. Then they sent her. When the next day when we go, she was in the CCU. Hook up, they started giving her morphine and all of that. When we get into detail about what is this palliative, we thought it was going to be something good and to help her. Then we
No, that's
found
where the
out it
morphine
was,
comes in.
yeah, that was, then, oh, that wasn't enough for them because she was like, yeah, I think they were scared that she was going to survive and able to sue them because as the victim, I'm not sure. I don't, to be
So,
honest, I
well,
wouldn't
I'm
even.
sorry, Maria. I apologize deeply. Well, we're running a little short of time, but is your feeling then that they realized that they had made a mistake, a fatal mistake, and that terminating her would be better than?
Yes, yes, yes. And I did contact an attorney, and that's exactly what the attorney said. They're all evidence pointing
Mhm.
to this. And
I'm sorry. Just to wrap it up, please, and we'll talk again. I promise you.
okay,
But can you tell me what the uh, death certificate said? What did the what was their stated cause of death?
um, I'm gonna have to get it. I'm gonna gotta get it, or if you want me to get it another time, because I have to look it up because I am still trying to recuperate. It hadn't been a year since my mom passed, and it was unexpected. So this is like now I'm trying to process it all. But they have a few things on it. They did mention the septis and all of that. But the other thing is they did not send my mother medical stuff to the medical office. I called the medical office about what if they were had reported my mom's death,
The medical
and they
examiner's
did.
office.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Yeah.
didn't. They took a while after they had to alter their notes, I guess, and they sent it. And I will have to get that. I can send you a copy of that because they have some reasons. But my thing, just like Maria before me, is that they failed to diagnose. They tried to cover it up because her symptoms, they sent her out with the symptoms. And again, I wasn't even aware of this law until after the death of my mom, when the attorney said all evidence point to medical negligence. But because of the current freaky law, which then I learned about it. And I
Yeah.
was an ALF administrator for 20, almost 20 years, and never know such a cruel law existed in Florida.
All
So
right. Well, Maria, we're going to follow up with you. Um, log on to the Florida Medical Rights Association. Be sure that we've got your whole story on our website. Okay, if you haven't
I
already
do.
done that.
I have, and I will get that death certificate too. And I don't know, you want me to email you a copy of it? I
Yes, you
don't
can do that.
mind.
That would be fine. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but there's a whole lot more to it. But I know you guys are out of time, so I appreciate you guys because this, if last I know, if my mom had died truly to natural stuff, it would have been a little more acceptable. But watching them murder her, that's not right. And we're being denied justice. This is not about money. This is about justice. They need to be punished for the
Accountable. They
crime
need
they
to be
committed.
accountable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Accountable to the point to go to the prison for their crime. That's
Yeah.
what I view it as. And they give her morphine, overdosed her on morphine.
All right. Well,
So,
thank you,
yeah.
Maria, and we will follow up. Okay.
Okay.
All right, folks. You can appreciate the how pervasive this is. We all across the state of Florida. It's not isolated to one particular area or one particular hospital system. And these are things that just simply have to change. All right. Thank you again for your time. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you for watching The Fight Against Free Kill Laws with Ed Salazar, where we interview those who have dealt firsthand with medical malpractice. Families are devastated by medical malpractice and left with no justice. This isn't just a loophole. It's a failure to protect the ones we love. It's time to change the law. It's time for accountability. Contact your state legislatures, visit afreekill.com for more information on how to help, or contact Ed at 561-239-2417. Because every life should matter.
You're listening to a fight against free kill laws from AMP Media Production Studio.